Hello, my name is Desiree Fredericks. I'm a Career Foundry student and will be presenting my findings from the influenza data gathered from the CDC and the U.S. Census. The flu is a common viral infection that can cause mild to severe symptoms. More than likely you or someone you know has had the flu. We all react differently to viral infections based on a multitude of factors. How healthy you are, your age, maybe other comorbidities, whether you have the yearly flu shot, all of these things factor into how badly the flu impacts you. At the most severe, you can end up in the hospital and it can even lead to flu-related deaths. While this happens, our hospitals and clinics can be overwhelmed with the amount of flu caused by hospitalizations. Which begs the question, if we had the proper number of staff in the hospital and clinics, could we better handle the flu season and better treat these patients? The goal of this analysis is to help medical staffing agencies better understand and plan when and where to increase staffing to hospitals and clinics on an as-need basis. So when is flu season? To prepare for the flu, we are usually prompted to get our flu shots in about September or November. This is leading up to the start of flu season. As you can see on the graph below, year after year, the most flu-related deaths are found in December and January. The flu virus peaks during the winter months and dissipates March through October. This is great to have this historical data to forecast future flu seasons and patterns. This tells us that the staffing agencies should start ramping up their staff in September and October to better prepare for the increase in hospitalizations in November through February. Now that we know when flu season is, the next question is, where is the flu most prevalent? So now that we know to increase staffing, a good question to ask is, where do we direct this increased staffing? If we take a quick look at the map to the left, we can see places like California, New York, Texas, and Florida stick out with increased number of influenza deaths. Let's take a closer look at this. Why are these locations more impacted by the flu than other states? So who is most impacted by the flu? Like I previously stated, there are many factors that go into who have more severe symptoms. One of those factors is age. We see that the age groups 65 and older are at a higher risk and considered a part of the vulnerable population. In the states of California, New York, and Texas, there is a higher population of the 65-plus vulnerable community. This correlates with our map, where there are an increased number of influenza-related deaths. With this information, we can decide to put our staff in those areas with increased vulnerable populations during the flu season. So in conclusion, deaths can be prevented with flu shots and adequate medical staffing. In the United States, each state has a different population composition, meaning that some states will have more vulnerable populations. Based on the data used in this presentation from the U.S. Census and the CDC regarding flu-related deaths, we can conclude that we need to increase staffing during flu season, which would be December through February, in the locations of California, New York, and Texas. We can continue to monitor and forecast where increased staffing is needed based on locations of vulnerable populations. I would like to mention a few limitations to this data analysis. One being that death certificates can only have one